Okay, so what I was saying is that we haven't started here on the artificial intelligence or the storyboard. So we want to start getting those ready to go. The main objective, I think, for the vertical slice is basically to have a playable game against the AI. So when you start the scene, you will start with the backhoe and automatically start building your base and units. And then on the other side of the screen, on one of the other four tiles, we will have an AI that actually starts creating a base to attack you.
Okay.
So our objective is basically to have a one level game that's fully functional as far as building and attacking goes.
Yeah, like some small demo. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I think what we'll do is on the vertical slices, we'll put in maybe one commander ability.
Okay.
But the officer concept, I'm not sure. I guess we should probably have at least one officer in the game because this is what we'll use to demo the game for other people and maybe investors, hopefully. So at this point, I think we should probably have one of everything that we plan on using. So one officer, one reinforcement ability, the normal AI, micromanaging of the unit to do auto attacking and things like that, pathfinding, stuff like that. And then when we move off here, I think the next step would be basically polishing up those items and adding the rest of them in, and then networking support will be part of the beta. And then alpha, I was thinking that we'll do more of refining the art style and making things look pretty, and then we'll go into release.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Also, beta will probably end up having to have the whole menu system designed in it, outside of the game. But on this vertical slice, I want to just focus mainly on just the one four corners level, making it to where it's fully playable by, everybody that.
Yeah, but we'll still need a simple menu for living the game and such things. We can't let the player to enter the game and play it. So he can't. He can exit. He must have ability to exit it or save it or something like that.
Are you talking for menu reasons?
Yeah, we have at least have buttons for pause and for quit game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
like that.
the in-game stuff, we'll get that going. I'm talking about like the the
Oh,
option screen and all that outside of the game when you're
okay,
just
okay,
joining the lobby and all that. The full GUI should be done.
okay.
So
That makes sense.
um, so let's look at agendas on the roadmap here. So I mean we've got all these done. So I'm gonna, unless you have an objection, I'm going to mark all of these as completed.
Yeah, okay.
Or not complete. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put them in the short or the official release. And let's get those off the table because let me look at Visual Studio. It's finally done. So I might just open up your branch on Unity, and we need to fix this. Let's make that a priority this week to get us up to date on that.
Yeah, I think I already updated Unity on the
Okay.
latest versions, so I will check that out. But it works fine
Okay.
for me at least for now.
Okay. Well, I will update mine because I have not updated mine yet, so I need to do that. Whoa. Stop doing that. Unity is such an attention hog.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at these things that we have on the side here and kind of determine what's here already that we'll need. So we already have this, right? I mean, we spawn in a building from a unit,
Yeah.
so we don't need this. So let's delete this. Create 2 unit classes. I don't think we need. Do we need that?
Yeah.
I don't.
We can remove that.
Okay.
That's fine.
Building. What about building unit? Building units can spawn barracks. We don't need that either. We got that.
Yeah, they already can
Building can
spawn up to
spawn.
eight. Yeah, up to
Yeah.
eight different objects.
Okay, so let's, we've already got these, so I want to go ahead and I'm going to delete these out of here. Clear out what we already accomplished. F5. Okay, let's look over here. The continuous one has to stay. Create account. We don't have that. That's for the GUI.
Yeah.
Create scripting system. I think this is for the AI. I think at one time we were talking about using Luna.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't think I want to go that route. I'd rather just keep it all in C# if we can.
Yeah.
Just for simplicity. I'm gonna go short term. I'm gonna go ahead and open this one up, and if we need, we'll redefine this what it is.
Okay.
But I think, yeah, I think we'll go ahead and open that one up, and then let's see. Five. Okay. Create users. That's more GUI. I'm gonna go ahead and label these GUI so we know that they are GUI related in the menu or in the title. Okay. All right. Credentials. Get out of here with that. Create credentials based on the GDD description. I don't think this is really a programming agenda.
Yeah, maybe one part of it to like start it from the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it under design for right now.
Okay.
Until it's actually created or it's well defined. I don't think it should be over here.
Yeah, we could include credentials into the vertical slash.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, this is more GUI tracking of how they use the GUI, so we can make it better.
Oh, okay.
That'll be like way down the road. E-commerce. This here will have to come in beta. This is the e-commerce part of it to sell models and stuff. Game logic. I'm gonna delete this one because I don't think we're gonna be able to do the original thought of that. In-game currency, we will need this. I'm gonna put this in the short term to make it to where we can have resources. So that should be part of vertical slice. This is GUI related because this is the currency outside of the game. So we want that one. Oops. And this here should be on the short term.
Sorry about that, guys.
No worries. We are just cleaning up our agenda stuff here. Awards, suburbs, and unit total. I think unit total should probably come when we start working on the GUI because it's basically a balancing utility that we've come up with for player versus player. Oops. So I'm gonna leave that here, but I'm gonna just put GUI on it. Suburbs, we'll probably need this we're gonna need this in the vertical slice because the suburbs will play a pretty good role within the game itself. Okay, reward system. This is the award system on the units themselves within the game. Okay. And let me try to show you what I mean by that real quick. In-game unit rank it. Yes. I want to just see if I can find a quick picture. Do you guys ever play a game where so you got the unit there, and then right above the unit name, right above the unit name, like off to the right, there's like a rank. Like if you killed a bunch of stuff with it. Yeah, so it's kind of similar to this. We'll have ranks, so you'll have like private, first class, so on and so forth, but it'll be like over here onto the right side of the unit with the name above it. So every time they kill something or they go into battle and achieve something, they're like rank up in the game. So that way, when you first have a new unit, the new unit would be more expendable than the veteran unit. Yeah. And so there'll be a level of a strategy added to the game because of that, because you're not going to want to sacrifice a veteran unit for nothing, basically.
Yeah.
And in this game, units don't survive very long. There's going to be so many ways to counteract what someone's doing that I don't think units will have a long longevity in the game. So I want to put ranks on the units and make it to where they they have to kind of save that unit that they want to use. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of jumped like halfway in this, but
okay. We'll cover more on it later. And I'll try to find a picture. I've seen it done in game before, but I can't remember what game that is right off the top of my head. I've only seen it a few times.
You're pretty much adding like a level ranking, right, for determining what strategy you take.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so here's given our vertical slice, here is our current agendas that we have already created. So let's look back over here at what we don't have created. I do need to do that.
Just skip this for now.
Yeah, I'll have to wait till later. Okay, so Robert, this is your branch I got open here. Let me get Visual Studio out of the way. So I think with the changes that we've done, so if we have on vertical slice, we have one officer that'll pop up here and all his text will show up here when he's talking. And we'll have your own avatar and probably a mini map eventually right here, along with your reinforcement abilities right here. And then, of course, all the other buttons that support the unit. And then all units that you have selected. And if you have one unit selected, then this here becomes the status of that unit and all the properties to that unit will be listed here. And of course, your resources, your full-on map, which will show up on the screen, and then as your menu button.
Okay.
So with that being said, let me get out of that. Oh, we got some boats over here, huh?
Yeah, boat, submarine, airplane.
Let's see. Sub. That looks good. I like that.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. It's really powerful. Okay.
Anybody tell the jet that he's on the ground?
Yeah, he will
Oh, the
spawn.
buggy. The buggy flies. The airplane does not.
Yeah, when you started it, they switch places.
Okay, so yeah. Oh man, look at that.
Yeah, it has a little boat inside. I didn't even saw it.
That's funny. That's awesome though. Is this that's only a unit? So we achieved our goal as far as air, ground, and water ability?
Yeah, we have a problem with airplane only. That I have to look into more. That's a shadow of the airplane. They all move, but airplane won't. Airplane should move when uh, be then above ground or water, but it won't cross the gap between those two.
Is it off the ground? I can't. Yeah, it's off the ground.
Yeah, it's I think 200 units
Okay.
of the ground for now, and somebody is like
So
minus.
is it just stopping at the water then?
Yeah, if you move it before you start it, move it inside the water, then it will flow above the water. So I need to find a way to merge those two surfaces. So he crossed the gap between them.
Oh man, I love this camera. This is nice.
Yeah, that's what Aaron made.
Yeah, it is nice, Aaron.
Thank you.
I think we'll speed it up a little bit, but it's nice.
Yeah. Well, it's all adjustable anyway, so.
Yep. Okay, so there's that. So let's come over here. So now the submarine, I think, are we able to put the sub on the bottom layer that Edward made? He made that underground or underwater.
Yeah, the problem is that when now mesh layers are one above the other, the lower one won't respond. So I use base offset on water to sink a submarine a little bit, so it can be adjusted how deep you want it to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What happens if you collide them?
Yeah, I think they won't collide because submarine is like -2 units below the water.
Okay.
If I put it -3, it won't show. You wouldn't see it.
Yeah, Rob, the next time you're in there, will you get rid of this update image?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look here. So yeah, I mean, I think this is looking good. So I think, and then we still have our, oops, I mean, yeah, I know we still have our building ability that we.
Yeah, it's updated also.
Okay, so I want to take a look at that real quick.
Yeah.
So let's put this way over here.
Yeah, that's the building site. And then
excellent. There we go. Yeah. So he's actually driving to it.
Yeah. Yeah, getting me to find out with that. But it still won't do. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna need some sort of queuing mechanism. Because if I click it and I move, he'll move to it, but he doesn't build it.
Yeah, that's what you told me once, but I wasn't unable. So when you move it and click it, it won't place it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the bug that Edward told me, but I wasn't able to reproduce it. Yeah, I'll have to see into it. more.
I'm just gonna see what the performance of this is real quick.
Yeah, I was curious about that idea. Are they?
It looks like a bunch of ants.
Yeah, but they are more information, at least smart ants. Essentially.
No, go this way.
I'm not sure if is it lagging for you because when we see when we zoom it, kind of everything is like.
No, I mean it doesn't seem to be lagging at all for me.
Oh, that's nice. Because my laptop is a bit old, so when if I put more than
Yeah.
like one into
Oh, they line up in formation?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Da 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 da. Oh.
Do they move in formation at all? Or does it
Yeah.
depend on where they start?
I think they're all just information of whatever that is. Where's that airplane at? Can the airplane place a building?
If he can place a building site, I'm not sure about it. Yeah, he can build it because he's way up in sky. But you can try to move buggies, they will build it, I think. They should be.
What do you think the issue is with the airplane not crossing the water?
The issue is with now mesh when if you can turn on navigation and zoom
Okay.
in the gap, you will see that they are not. They have like a tiny gap between them, and that's
Yeah.
why you don't cross it. I think there's a way to link it, but I will have to see into it.
Yeah. And just off the top of my head, a thought might be to put a plane way up in the air and make it invisible, kind of like we did with the water.
You mean air, like?
Well, like with the water here. Come on, zoom in. Whoa. Back up a little. Hold on. Yeah, let me.
I think I know what you think. You mean like make a sky and put no mesh on it.
Yeah, so like, yeah, it's same thing as Edward did with the water here.
Yeah, but that's what Gary made when he submitted, but it didn't work because when you have now mesh above now mesh, you kind of the lower one won't react. So when we had the sky above the water, the boat wouldn't want to move anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so I will have to find a way to use one of those two options.
Okay. Well, we'll cover more on that later to figure that out. So okay, so I mean, it's looking good, really good, a lot better than what we had months ago. So let me shrink this, put this over here. So let's cover over what we think should happen next. I think, and Robert, you may want to take notes because we're going to need agendas for this. But I think the next thing I want to do is let's ditch the buggy and put the backhoe in. And then make the backhoe to where it will build buildings, and let's start from there. Let me see if I can get you the asset ID for that real quick here. No. Okay. Oops. Land, I think it's a utility vehicle. Yeah, it's right here.
That's 137.
Let's see. Yeah, this is the one that yeah, Jono made. So, and it is in the gameable folder already as 1372.
Okay. Noted.
So let's come in here and just take a look real quick. So if this is the way we, I think what we'll do is we probably ought to animate this too. And I'm sure there's going to be problems. Look at that. I bet you that is one solid. I bet you that's one solid model.
Shape keys can do that.
So that's probably something we're going to want to look at. But Jesus, touchy.
Are we going to have stages of the building process represented? There's a couple blocks here when you first start, and then, you can see a foundation, and then maybe a wall goes up, and then the building's there. Or you're just going to have it, like, pop into place.
That would, so you're talking about a building animation is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think at this stage, no. I think maybe, what, just for simplicity, so we can kind of skip the animation part of like buildings, because that would, if we try to animate every single thing we build, I think that's going to prolong the project a lot more than what we need to be. And we can always come back to that and do that. So I think at this point, what we ought to do is when something's built, put maybe like a grayed out timer on the building, like above the building or above the unit, or probably, well, it'd be above the building when you're building a unit, and then above the building when you're actually building the building itself.
Yeah.
And make like a circle timer thing that like counts down of how long before that building is usable. Does that sound like something that would work? I think it would.
Yeah, well, Jonas suggested that like months
Yeah.
ago.
And I think I want to create that as an animation. Because one of the classes, that's something else, Robert. Will you make an agenda to create an animation class to handle all animation? One of the suggestions from John was to do that. He said that because it'll allow us to, obviously bridge two gaps from Blender to Unity using Unity in the code. And then if there's a change in our pipeline of how we're doing things, then we change the animation file with inside of the code versus trying to fight it everywhere else. So we need an animation script, I think, that's going to be kind of multifunctional. One would be like if a unit, you'll want to attach it to a unit and then play the unit when the animation script is called, when there's an event action or something called. So we'll make it, be event driven. And then another one would be time. There'll have to be certain animations played at certain iterations, probably using like the game manager and the game for keeping track of delta time, and then playing certain animations like maybe weather or something of, who knows what else we'll come up with, but you get my point. Certain actions will probably need animation played in the game. So off the top of my head, that's the two things I can think of is event driven and time driven. I can't think of anything else at this point. So that's something we want to do. Okay. So let's come back into here. So looking at the game, from a unit standpoint, we need our animation. So I think, Aaron, I think we should probably start making agendas for that as well. For our, I did 3D, didn't I? So right now we have these here. Are these, let's see, this one's done. That was awesome. That was a nice video. So let's get that off the chart there. So Aaron, in order to create agendas, if you go to your agenda, you'll see new agenda right here now.
Yeah.
So on this one here, I think what we ought to do is let's go through the models and let's pick what models we're going to actually use. Now I think, did I do that here? I thought, no, I did not. I didn't put a number on them. So let's do two things here. Let's we want the backhoe. Who does anybody remember what that number was?
1372.
Yeah. So 1372. Who knows what the buggy is? Anybody?
Buggy, I'm not sure.
Let me pull. We'll just pull this out. I
You
think
you have buggy and in your here in your game scene.
Oh yes.
Yeah, there's a patroller vehicle. Down, down, down.
Oh, right there. Okay, there is 1434. Okay. Aircraft. Let me look here. A10. 1430. Surface would be the ship. 967. Submarine. Oh, wait a minute. That's the submarine. 967 is the submarine. 1440. And we currently do not have an inventory, and we currently do not have a satellite. So let's look at.
If we're gonna use submarine, we should probably make water like see-through, like transparent or something.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and add that as an agenda. It's probably gonna have to. With that, I think that would have to go to design first to get the textures.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's
what was it? Oh yeah, inventory. I think, was this one the full? Yeah, this one was the full one. So, and this one's in there, 1511. And then I know we don't have any satellites at this point. So we'll test, let's test with these agendas here. Now the agendas themselves, some of them may not be our design style. And I think we're probably gonna have to change that. I'm not sure, do we wanna, I don't know if we really wanna worry, well, for the game objects that we have right now, I think maybe we should go ahead and worry about them being our art style. So let's go to 3D and let's kick all these out to completed. Let's go to 3D and have them work these into the way that we want them in voxel. And then once they are done in voxel, we will start the animation process of them. Is that tank at a point where we can test animation with a unit?
Almost.
Okay. So whenever that's done, then we can start really messing with, you know, how to fire off animation. And then
Yeah.
we'll just simply replace the tank with, you know, whatever unit we need. This should give us 1 unit per area that we'll need. The only reason I'm going to have vehicles twice is one for the backhoe and one for the buggy. Aircraft, surface, submarine. Yeah. Okay. And then refresh this. So the MOS has been postponed.
You said you wanted the buildings. Remember?
Oh, yeah, command.
The ones that were not done in voxel.
Yeah.
So those are the agendas to redo them in voxel.
Okay, USS Annapolis. Let's table this one just because we switched. We're just gonna use what you got in there. We need to go through these, Tessa, and like, why do we need this? What is this for?
What is
I don't know.
a supply car? Maybe.
I'm
Any
gonna
references?
I'm gonna nix this one. I don't think that's something we need right this second. What is this one? And this is scenery art, which we could probably use a lot more scenery art, but we want it more modern. Let me look at this one, rocks. Yeah, we'll keep the rocks. I'm gonna delete this one too. Let's keep with nature for now and not so many structures. Okay, we'll keep that for now. All right, so the rest of that scene stuff, this one here, let's pull this out and put this in, postpone it and put it in long term. So we do want that building as quick as possible. Now let's look at these units here that we have and kind of determine if they're within our art style or not. And then we'll create those. So the submarine, definitely a no.
Yeah, that was the Annapolis agenda.
Okay. Was it? Oh yeah, that's why it was in there. Duh, I forgot. Okay. What do you guys think of this? I mean, it's got a rounded hole. We got, you know, kind of edged area there. Same thing there. I mean, it's a beautiful model, but does it match our art style?
Unfortunately, not really. But it looks really good though.
Yeah, it does. I mean, this is pretty close. It's got a little bit of edging here. What do you think about voxel doing things like this, Aaron? I mean, because you have little edges like right here, like the cockpit.
As far as what exactly?
Well, in our art style, we want to keep that Minecraft look. So things like this would not be something that we would want. But how would you depict that using voxel? I mean, you'd have to build up like maybe square, 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 square.
Yeah, like I think it'd be higher poly, but like that the jet that was animated by Jonathan,
Yeah,
like that one, that's more the art style you're going for, right? Versus
yeah.
this.
I mean, these are beautiful models. They are, but they're just they're not matching what we need as far
Are
as
they
art style.
are they like too lengthy and flat?
They got too many curves, just way too many curves. Like if we take a look at the art style that we're going for.
I think we're going to have problems if we don't allow some kind of curves.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying is, but exactly at what point are we gonna cut that out,
Well, look, why don't you just stick with basic shapes instead of saying we can't do curves at all? A wheel can be perfectly round. That kind of thing. It doesn't have to be exactly Minecraft or exactly Roblox to stay low pixel, but we have to be able to let things roll around.
But this is when I look at the game, this is this scene picture here. This is what I want to see. No, look at the jet. You see how that jet looks with the cockpit?
Then it should be more of like 8-bit or 16-bit style. So, oh, I see. I kind of see what you're saying about the curves because you want more of that like straight 90, right?
Yeah.
Well, because like the wheels, like say on that buggy, they can be the way they are. You can put a collider on there, like a wheel collider in Unity, and it'll actually rotate normally. It'll actually exceed uh, the width of it. It'll actually be a straight circle. However, the model itself doesn't have to be.
Yeah. So I think we should probably try to enforce that as much as possible. 8-bit look and feel.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that to Daniel, so we're gonna have to think about that.
Well, go back to Unity real quick to that buggy. Because I think that looks pretty good, but like the all the bars on it and stuff, like the frame of it,
Yeah.
um, it doesn't look bad per se or anything. But I mean, if we wanted it more boxy, maybe we should just do like a fill, like instead of having
Oh
uh,
yeah. I get you.
the same thing with that other ship. We might just be able to tweak it just a little bit instead of having to redo it.
Yeah.
Like the
Let's make an agenda in a 3D 3D to do that to try it and let's see what happens. I want to.
Yeah, I can talk to Daniel about basically getting rid of the curves on it as far as the pixelation look.
Dang it. I want to kind of see these side by side because this is basically
Yeah,
what we're going to have. God dang it. Give me the selector tool.
You can put it at the box in X1 set plane in the game scene upper right to place it like side to side. Yeah.
Yeah, well. Oh hell.
No. Try to press X or Z.
are you trying to get a side view of it?
No, I kind of wanted to put them side by side just to kind of compare, you know, the Minecraft look type guy to that
Uh,
basically.
okay, in the hierarchy, grab the guy that you want to move.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, my bad. Go to the buggy.
There we go.
And the transform in the inspector in the top right.
No, that's what I want to see. I just want to see them side by
Oh,
side. There. So, you know, the guy doesn't fit the model. That's my whole thing.
yeah. I think if we went boxy on the railing and stuff instead of doing the thin lines, because that's more. It's not quite realistic, but it's closer than what the character is.
Yeah. And I think this here should be our to me, the guy should be our baseline
Yeah.
because they're with the storyboard and everything. When you have the images that are going to show up, they're going to look like this. They're going to look like, you know, this guy does. And then if you put, you know, a model like that beside that guy, I just don't think that's going to look right. So, and you know, when we have cutscenes in story mode, this is kind of what it's going to look like right here. I mean, this is spot on as far as like, you know, character A shoots character B or whatever, you know, whatever the
Yeah.
storyboard is. So, okay.
How much artistic leeway is there going to be for the storyboard?
How much what?
Artistically, okay. So everything's boxy, right? But because it's a storyboard, we want it to be interesting to look at and not just, you know, we need lights and we need shadows and maybe
I think
even a curve here and there. Not a lot, just, you know, there might be one or two.
I don't think the curves are going to be what's necessary to do that. I think the shadows themselves.
This is the storyboard. This is what I'm expecting. Something that looks and feels real similar to this.
That's going to have to be rendered out, by the way, like Blender or something like that. That's why it has like a cinematic feel.
Oh yeah, I get that, but I mean, we're talking right now for the story. We're talking just 2D art. We're not talking anything else other than that to get us off the ground.
Yeah.
Once we go, we're not even gonna worry about any type of cinema stuff until after we've actually released the game. Because I mean, you know, as much as as well as I do, that is a lot of tedious work and a lot of groundwork that would have to be laid out to even have a story that's somewhat compelling and then try to render it out like a movie scene. So I don't think right now that's definitely not a focus. Right now it's just 2D and trying to get everything situated as far as the starting intro to the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, by 2D, are you meaning an animatic or like that comic thing you're talking about?
No, like the comic book.
So are they moving or is it just images?
Static images.
Okay.
To get us off the ground, that's kind of the groundwork we're going with. Because I think if we can master that, then we'll know what we're doing, and then from there we can start making cinematic cut scenes and stuff.
Yeah. Well, have you all ever seen South Park?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know it's a dumb question. They've been out for like years, but like their old style stuff, they do pretty much the same style animation, but the difference in it, their older stuff and their like obviously looked kind of like crap compared to their newer stuff. And really, the biggest difference was not how they animated anything or anything like that. Their art style didn't really change. What changed was the shadows. It gave it more depth in them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you kind of compare, if y'all want to look at the old episodes versus the new ones, you can actually achieve a lot just from doing like shading or shadows for it.
Yeah,
So
and crotch hatching and all that stuff.
Yeah, so that's one way you can make like the comic book thing look more compelling, kind of like what Tessa was after.
Yep. Okay. So let's look at 3D and animation and animator. So what I want you to do, Aaron, is I want you to take these here, and I want you the model numbers, and I want you to create an agenda for them to be created or fixed within Voxel to match our art style the way we just described it.
For the 3D art?
Yeah, for 3D art. And then once that's done, then we'll move those agendas over to Animator, and we'll start animating just these right here. I don't want to focus on any other models other than these here, and one building. Oh, the building's over here. Command center. What was that command center agenda? Or yeah, without caching on the website, it's taking a little bit to load. 5 or 957. Yep. Okay, 957. So this asset and these assets, let's create those assets here to be recreated. The command center is done, so let's do the rest of them. And I think the submarine one was done too. This one. USS, yep, this one. And then what else we got? We got the buggy. I think the rest of these are the ones that we don't actually, yeah, we don't actually have any of the rest of those. So the submarine one is done as well. So let's put that back here. Oops. Ending. Okay, F5. All right, there we go. So those two are done. So I need the rest of these that are not on the, or just, yeah, the rest of these outside of the sub on this list to be looked at for animating, or I'm sorry, for modeling with our art style the way that we really want it. Once we perfect all of these models, we'll send these over to John for him to look at after they've been animated and, you know, ready to go. And we'll get his opinion after we get one of them done, and then we'll send all of them for review, just to make sure that, you know, we're on the right track.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I did have one question. Are we worried about like textures and materials at this point?
No. So before you joined, I was telling Robert that we want to go with, for vertical slice, we want to get the gameplay going. So we don't really care so much as aesthetics of it, as much as the functionality of the models and the functionality of the programming. So, okay, you know, units not walking through each other, you know, no gaps in vertices for glitching, so on and so forth.
Okay, because I believe that when we go through the process to minimize the poly count and all that good stuff from Voxel to Blender, if I'm not mistaken, when you do that, the way that Voxel works, if you do materials or textures in there, that's based off of the geometry. So if that geometry changes, I believe it gets rid of the materials.
Yeah. So let's not cross that bridge right yet.
Yeah, so you'd have to redo it after they've been optimized or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, let's get one of them done, and then we'll revisit when we should do that. But I'm thinking probably beta. I don't even think we're gonna worry about it for vertical slice. We might color them like team red is red and team blue is blue, but you know, we'll do that with the material and just apply it to everything and be done with it until beta.
Okay. And for the GUI or all the UI buttons and all that stuff, are we like when you said before about animating them? What are you talking about, like color changes or actually animating them?
Are we talking? What are we talking about as far as that goes? Because the buttons, basically, it's a button, so it should have a shadow drop effect.
Yeah. So just like what you're doing right now, just how the color changes a bit, or it kind of.
Yeah, we're just making it to where the user knows that they clicked on it, to where there is a response to the action.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't going to need any like 2D animations like that for sprites.
Not right now.
Okay.
All the color changing and then all the make it look good and polish it stuff will come after vertical slice. Right now, like I said, the only thing I think we want to be worried about is the functionality of the game actually working.
Okay.
Because without that, we have nothing to color. And if we start changing stuff in the middle of someone actually doing that, then that's going to cause all kinds of fun problems.
Yeah.
So I want to get as solid as possible before we actually start trying to polish it up and worry about the aesthetics of the level and the units. Let me clear this out. Okay, there we go. So now I can see what we got here. Great textures. Okay, so Unix GUI, the GUI. Okay, sound. So just so you guys know, on the new sandbox site, we're going to be doing agendas a little bit differently. Right now, it's a one-to-one relationship to where you have one agenda, you complete the agenda quits, or you turn the agenda in, you're done with it. What we've decided to do is we've expanded upon the agenda concept, and we made it to where the agenda is the agenda, but each role will be able to actually participate on one agenda rather than multiple agendas, to where everybody, so like the tank needs modeled, animated, sound, and then programmed. So the way that we're working on it right now to change it is basically, so let's just say we're building a tank on this one. Mm-hmm. Then what will happen is it will make it to where the more than one person can accept this agenda based off the role, and you'll accept the role on the agenda versus the agenda itself. So if you accept the animation role, then you will do the animation, and then someone else would accept like the modeling of it, and someone else would accept the programming of it. Because I noticed that we have to repeat agendas a lot, and then we have to tie all those agendas together. And the way we did that before is we made on this old site is we made the parent agenda concept so that you could tie them together. So anything you create on this agenda would automatically be put into this agenda inside of Unity. But that's a little confusing, I think. And I think we really want it to where we can work on one item on multiple levels, and keep track of it versus trying to keep track of who's the parent agenda for what item. And some items have more than one, obviously. So
yeah, I think that'll be a lot easier to navigate.
So that's one of the changes that's coming down the pipeline that we've Tess and I have been talking about and trying to program, and then I'm working on that code change and everything as fast as I can. But it's not an easy task. I mean, you're taking the site was created back in 2011 and it's been built upon since then. You're taking 7 years worth of stuff and cramming it into trying to get it done. So I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm probably estimating maybe December. I know it's a long time, but in order for me to get it right, I think that's what we're honestly probably looking at is probably end of November, maybe December. So just an update on that.
Okay.
So on the 2D front, so we'll talk 2D and game writing in a second. On the game design area, as far as the level goes, do we need anything right now for the level? Is there any work that should be done?
Only that I can come up to make water transparent.
Yes. Tessa, will you create a design agenda for me real quick, just for creating water texture? And on that water texture, we want it on here, right? On the actual plane.
Like water and underwater, like I don't know, some ground or something like that.
Well,
So
we
you can,
had that. Robert made, or not Robert, Edward made that
okay.
the under. Yeah, Edward made the underwater one. Oh, right here it is.
Yeah, I saw it. So so what I was thinking is that water, like that you can see through water and to the bottom, so you can see submarine when it goes around place.
Okay, so we need like a transparency water.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Okay,
if you put the submarine under the water, you won't see it.
okay. So we need a design agenda that says create water texture that is transparent for underwater layer.
Are we gonna want it static, or do we want the water to animate and move?
Right now, I want to say we'll probably make it static. And we'll come back to animating it when uh, we start worrying about cosmetic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the only design thing you can think of that we need.
Maybe bridges. Well, we're gonna make like a bridge between the areas or something like that.
Nah,
Is that
I
no?
want them to cross the water to get to each other.
Oh, okay.
So okay, so that looks. I think we're good there. Once we get these assets done, then we'll start worrying about other special assets like transports and maybe refuelers, things like that. So okay, put GUI buttons in Unity, and we still got this agenda here too that needs to be done. So we'll have to get with Edward on that. So I think let's look at that forum post of whatever else wanted to talk about. I think I got quite a bit of it. Okay, so how to incorporate social media without taking away from creation process. So do you want to talk about that, Tessa?
It's really just documenting what you're doing. Screenshots, short video clips here and there. It doesn't have to be polished or pretty. I mean, pretty helps. But things that I can just string together so that we can show that we are doing things and making progress. The more variety of things that we get that we can post, the more people we're going to be able to get interested in actually following what we're doing, which is what we need. We need people to want to see what we're putting up next, not just, see it once and go, oh, okay, and move on. We want them to recognize the logo for TC and, pay attention.
Yeah, and it's important that we build a following now because, who is that? Tim Russwick. I think his concept of, by default you sell 0 games, which is true because no one knows you. So the idea of this is to make it to where we have a platform that we can continually build upon as a main RTS that everybody thinks about when they think RTS. I mean, right now, if you ask someone what they think about, it's usually like Age of Empires or Command and Conquer. And so we want to be up in that area somewhere.
Do we
We're
want
going to
to?
need to start small before we can get up to that area. We're going to need little things. We're going to need little video clips. We're going to need little sound clips. Even if it's just a voiceover of, this is what I changed in the program to make that work on a 12-second video. We need little things that we can put out there. And we need them to be consistent. We need to put out, more than one thing a week, and just posting team meetings, I think we showed is not working.
Well, I think the team meetings that are on YouTube and Facebook, honestly, I don't think people are gonna want to sit there and watch. Like we've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes. I don't think people are gonna sit there and watch something like that. So to get us recognized as a team and what we're doing, these meetings are good for recording them for the other teammates to watch. But to try to increase our following and people interested in what we're doing, I think Tessa's on the right track there as far as getting little snippets and showing personalization between the team itself. So I think just off the top of my head, I think when we create stuff, so let's say we create this GUI button in Unity, and then whenever I'm done with it, I might take a couple screenshots of what I did or a video, and then come in here and just type in, social media, and then whatever it is, and then, whatever.
Why don't we just have a continuous agenda for social media that they can upload it to?
Well, that agenda is going to get bloated with the amount of stuff on there. Once you get past like 30 or 40 items as an asset, then I don't know. I think it'd be better to do that and maybe use this select type here and maybe put social media as one of the select types.
Yeah, we're going to have to do something because I have to be able to find it.
Yeah. So if we do a select type here of social media, then it'll automatically load there. And then when you actually go to search, you can select it here.
We're going to have the search becoming bloated, and it's going to be one of those things where I'm scrolling through pages of things that I've already used to find what's new.
No, you're not, because it's date oriented, or it's date descending. So whenever someone uploads something, it's going to be in order of whatever the newest is. So tank, whatever the newest tank is, shows up at the top. It's in date order.
Another social media thing that Bishop and I had talked about, I guess it was the beginning of the year. People like people. People want to like the person doing the project before they like what the project is. If team members are willing to do short introduction videos, hi, this is my name, this is what I do here, that would be another thing that we can post that would make us real people to everyone on social media, that might get them more interested in following what we're doing.
Well, that might be an idea. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I was going to say, do we want the game to promote the company, or do we want those two as separate objectives?
We need to actually be doing both at the same time, because TC has to be established and armament has to be established.
That was
we
my
want them to be connected, but not, not inseparable.
Well, why don't we do just whenever we can get to it, like 1 or 2 promotion videos on the company, and we can include the people and about them in that, and then we can promote those videos, not really separate from the other stuff, but to separate the company from the game in a sense.
Yeah. So introducing the team members and such would be a promotion for the curator, whereas a short video of the tank and this is what we did to make it work would be a promotion for armament.
Yeah, and hopefully the armament stuff will tie back to the studio,
Right. Well, we haven't established a permanent armament logo yet, so we're still using the TC logo for everything armament that goes.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should focus on that pretty soon, is to try to get something more permanent. Because there's no point in getting people recognized with something that isn't going to be there. Because like big companies, they'll pay millions of dollars just to rebrand so that it's known, this was us before and this is us now.
Right. Well, we don't have a million.
No, I'm just saying that's how much they care about.
We have cameras in our computers and YouTube and Facebook. So
All right. Well, at this point, I'd say, maybe a short introduction, but I don't really know how that works because we're not all in the same area. So
Maybe we should promote that.
Yeah, we should, because that will encourage more people to pay attention, because it's not just one person over here doing something, like Robert, he's on the other side of the world. It's afternoon for him.
Yeah,
That's something that people are
video
going to pay attention to. If everyone does their each separate little thing, this is who I am, this is what I do, whatever. You know what? You don't have to give us intimate details of your life. Just something short that can be done in like 30 seconds.
yeah, it's something that you would probably put in a bio, like, this is what I've done and I have a passion. I think everybody here that's on the team has a passion for game creation. So I think that's, indie, in my opinion, the indie life is a lifestyle of whoever's involved in it.
I think anything that separates us from most normal indie studios or big studios in that sense, out of state, out of country, stuff like that. I think that's really cool, and something I think a lot of other people will follow as well.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and table the subject for now, and let's give it a little thought, and then next Saturday we'll cover it again. Use a form that Tessa will create for next meeting, and let's try to hash that out a lot more on the next meeting, and let everybody kind of see this video and what we're trying to achieve with that concept. And then we'll try to put a plan together with some agendas to start that process, I think.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a good starting point?
Mm-hmm.
Tessa?
All right.
Okay. Let's see here. Robert, show what you've done with the nav mesh. So do you want to kind of go over this little area here, Robert?
Yeah, well, first thing we already done what's have been done with the nav mesh. I show you what that area is not working as it should have.
Okay.
The second thing is that I thought of a new way for handling unit creation. When that animator that we had last meeting, he told us that it's all an illusion when making games. So I thought if we made like multiple panels, if you can open Unity and that in-game graphical user interface.
Okay.
Can you open it for me?
Yeah, let me. Okay, what is it?
I think you need to go to 2D mode to show it. Or start the game. It will work either way.
Here, how about I give you control real quick and you try it.
Okay. So, yeah, okay. It's showing now. So if we are gonna have only one unit that can build, like that black hole, or multiple units, but that they share this panel, that it's same, that they can make same buildings. So you can make like one panel for that, and then for every building that can build different units, make a new panel. Just those buttons, like panel inside this main panel. And when you select like, I don't know, Eternity Center, it will just show turn active panel for that building. And when you deselect it, it will just turn inactive. vice versa. If you get me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that will be more resource efficient than loading every time when you select something.
Okay. And that sounds good to me. So if you want to create an agenda for that, then that would be okay.
Okay, well, it doesn't need to be in vertical slice. It's just something I needed to document somewhere, so we have it for the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds good to me. If you want to create agendas for it, you can.
Okay.
And then assign them out. That way we know what's been done based off these lists. Because when we look at these lists, I try to make sure that we got last week's list done. So we'll do that. And then you said here selection circle redesign. So you want to redesign that circle that.
Well, the thing is that we only use it with body, so when apply it to something bigger, it won't show. It will still be the same small circle. You know, when
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
because that's a projector that one of the other programmers used, so I just borrowed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
that
that would definitely need to be an agenda. Let's get that up there for sure.
Okay, I'll note that part.
Okay. And then Aaron mentioned a bug report page and in-game buffer.
Yeah, that is something we should consider.
Okay.
Both of those things.
Yep. I think I agree. I think we should have that as well. So let's get that as an agenda. And then ways to document and list our classes and code. Now this one here, our original thought was to write comments within the code above the class.
That's not what I meant. I was thinking about like documenting it in like UML diagram or something like that. So when new programmers come, they can find their way around it more easily. If you know
Okay.
what.
So if we're
Like,
gonna do that, then we'd want like a programming wiki for it.
yeah, something like that. Exactly.
Yeah. So let's look at programming here. So right now for armament, this is the only wiki we have.
Okay.
Let me look at this one. This is the Thou Curator one. This is where all of our standards and stuff are.
Yeah.
But just for armament would be here. So I think that's probably where we want to put it, is right here.
Okay.
So when we create this to be programming armament and then label it, I don't know, what would you call it? Document. So armament program code documentation, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So let's
process it more, but
yeah, let's go ahead and create an agenda to get that started.
Okay.
And then we'll start adding to it as we go along. So that, because I know looking at the code here, when you dive into it, I think as a new person looking at it, it could be pretty daunting.
Yeah.
Of, trying to kind of figure out where things are.
Yeah, and it's only getting more complicated. I mean, more bigger as we go in.
Yep. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. That's a good idea. It's just we need a 2D. Okay, so Aaron, you said a 2D animator?
Yeah, that's just what I brought up earlier, if we needed to animate the sprites or not.
Oh, okay. So we've already discussed that.
Yeah.
So, and that'll be future. Let's see, talk and take notes about game mechanics and visuals we want out of the vertical slice. So basically the vertical slice is going to be the complete game at an AI level. So there'll be no human interaction, but we're basically going to make the game to where we have the units, multiple units of different types and different classes that do different things. Basically attack an AI component that we're going to design. So there is there's also something I should probably mention too. There's a let me hold on, let me grab my notes here. There's a methodology that I was researching called incompetent, I think. And basically they, so like LOL, they balance the game by having an imbalance, you know, like one unit will counter another unit, so on and so forth. There's no like master unit. Every unit has a weakness and every unit can be countered. And so that's what we're trying to go for here. Is basically, you know, no one unit will ever be a god unit that just masters the game. Every unit will have its weakness, and you know, people will have to work around trying to build, you know, their bases and their units that they select to use for some sort of strategy to counteract somebody else. You know, so there'll never be one way to win a game. You know, it won't. We're trying to make it to where, because a lot of RTSs, it comes down to who can micromanage, you know, who can do macros the fastest and who has the best, you know, time to get in resources and things like that. We're trying to avoid that and make it to where, you know, even if you have the best macro ability in the world, a Tomahawk missile will level pretty much any unit with one shot. That's why we're going to make the units to where they don't survive. You know, like, have you guys ever played Rise of Nations?
Yeah.
So Rise of Nations, you shoot a building and it literally takes you like 40 minutes to blow up one building, and you could have like 50 units shooting at this building. And we don't. That's not the type of gameplay we want. We want it to where you have to actually actively defend yourself from attack. So, you know, you're going to have to, it's not going to be a game where it takes, you know, 500 shots to kill something. You're talking 2, maybe 4 shots at most for most anything in the game, including buildings. Like if you have a tent building and you drop some sort of bomb on it, that tent building is gone. There's no way to survive that.
Yeah.
So, but we also have to make it to where we keep more of the arcade play style too. So that's where the challenge is, because in most arcades, it's not a realistic simulation of, you know, you get shot once, you're dead. It's more of you get shot like 10,000 times and then you're dead. You know, take what was it, Call of Duty? I think you can be shot like three times, maybe 4 times before you actually die, and then you regen health.
Yeah.
You know, something like that is what I'm talking about. Is we want the arcade to where you're not leveling. You know, if you spend 40 minutes making a base and then, you know, one bomb blows it up, well, you're not going to be very happy. So we got a balancing issue there that we're going to have to deal with, and that's why I want to get vertical slice up and going, so we can actually start looking at that. I want to see it before we actually address the issue and figure out what to do about the issue. I want to get, you know, it to where we can actually see it and then fiddle with a couple different ideas that everybody's kind of pitched out, and we'll see what works and what fun is. Remember, you know, the game is meant to be fun, so we may have to do some things that are not totally realistic, but I want to try to keep that look and feel of it as much as possible. You know, the idea of armament is that after we get done doing the modern age, we're going to start stepping back in time as well. You know, all the way to maybe when people used to throw rocks at each other type situation. And, you know, we'll probably have some funny animations and things like that go on when you get hit in the head with a rock. You know, that's the end goal, at least, which where we're at now seems like a very long way away. But that's kind of the vision for the game itself. So I just want to throw that out there so everybody kind of sees that or hears that, because that's one of the things that we discussed way back in the beginning of this game being, you know, thought up, and we started actually developing on it. So let's go. let's go into, let's see, music. And then Tessa has the music track, I believe. We will also need a brand out. So are those audio clips that I put in the team chat, are those good enough, or do you want something else?
It's not that there's anything necessarily wrong with them, but we've used them. We're going to need more to work with.
Okay. So in the audio, game audio, will you make an agenda of whatever you want? And then we'll see if we can get one of the audio guys on it. I know Brandon, or was that Robert?
Cardozo.
The other Robert has been in and out. So I'd make a couple agendas, maybe like 3, and then just let him know they're there. All right. Okay, so that's everybody's notes. So there's only a few other things I wanted to talk about. I'm sorry this is kind of dragging on, but I want to get all this out there for everybody. The last thing was a storyboard and creating what we think we should have. So Tessa has been working really diligently about creating the entire background of Armament with all the wikis that we have for the writing and stuff. So I think we need a starting point of right now, though, so we can start showing. Now the original idea, and I'm not saying we need to do this, but the original idea was that we would have the person who's playing the game as a new soldier. So they come in, they just join the military of whatever country they're in, and they're basically trying to work up their rank in the game all the way up to general, or all the way up to a leader position. So how do we portray this in a storyboard is what I'm trying to get at. And I think that's the main topic, because when you load into the game, the first, I think, comic book storyline should be you joining the military and you start going through events. Now, we also need like a main character, but the question I have is, do we have one main character that everybody pretty much portrays, and then, kind of as a concept that everybody is this one person fighting everybody else that's in the story? Does that make sense?
What we have to do is we have to create the world that they're fighting in. We have to create the details in a way that gives them a sense of what's actually going on, because during the character creation, each player character will be given options to define what kind of character they're actually going to be in the game, and that's going to determine the options that they're given later on in the game. But before they can do that, they have to have an idea of what they're walking into. That's the point of all of the histories of all of the clans and the factions and such. So for the storyboard, we need to start out with probably just more visuals than anything. Think comic book of, a visual portrayal of each of the 4 clans, and then you're going to do the separation, why it went from 3 to 4, why they split, that whole process. And then after that's established, then you can start worrying about who this person is, what side they're going into. That they can't just jump into it without knowing what it is.
Well, I have no idea how to portray all that. So we're going to have to figure out a way to do it.
Is this going to be based on like real wars, or is it completely made up?
It's made up.
The factions are completely fictional. Some of the concepts are carried over just to make it more dynamic.
Okay.
Like everybody knows about Edward Snowden.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the concepts we had was having a guy like that, as one of the reasons that I think that the war started.
No, you're talking about contacts in the game.
Oh, am I? Okay. So there's been so much writing done. Like I can't even, like, I myself, that's the problem I have with it, is I myself cannot even keep track of what actually is there.
Yeah, that's what I'm for. So I'll make the agendas that will clarify what needs to be actually drawn out for the storyboard so that we can have visuals for everyone to see, and it will make more sense.
Yes, that would definitely help. So let's get that into 2D game art and start with that. I know so after the vertical slice is not going to have any of the storyboard with it, but I think that hashing out, the basic concept art right now and getting the, what we will be actually implementing into the game. Like one of the things that Tessa mentioned was, making the characters where they have choices. So when you go to the load, all this is going to happen on the load screen. So when you're loading into a match, you're going to be presented with a screen that has the story, and you're going to have to make a decision before the game loads of what to do. And then based off that, it's going to go onto a persona card and actually affect the gameplay that you have. So if you are always like, let's say you decide to be a tyrant, and every time someone ticks you off, you decide to kill the person that makes you mad. You know what I'm saying? Then your unit that you're commanding will have more of a fear factor of what you're going to do to them if they don't listen to you, versus maybe more of a diplomatic approach to things that, may have different effects on the way your units in the game actually are affected by what you ask them to do. So, and this will also relate into the officers too. The way one officer interacts with you will not be the same way that the officer will interact with another player based on these decisions. So the game is always evolving, and it's always different per player is kind of what we're going for. So like, I don't know, like if there may be percentiles of how many people go like rogue, how many people desert their post and run off. So if you tell like a unit to like patrol this area, there may be a chance in the game that unit may like run off and disappear, or just completely disobey you, basically.
That's the morale resource.
Yes, which will be contributed by the persona of the user, of the player. So does this make sense of where we're kind of going with this?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you say no, Robert?
Yeah, I said yes.
Okay. I thought I heard somebody say no.
Yeah, I was a bit far from my mic.
Okay, so we need, in all art and the RTSs that we played, and I think everybody's, it's always build a base, destroy, and go destroy the other guy. We're trying to add another level to it that separates us from other RTSs. And this is the officer concept is that very goal itself. So it's important that, everybody understands that that's what's happening when we're making the officer stuff. So I think that's, man, I'm sorry guys, the meeting's been long. Narrative. I think that's pretty much all of my notes for this week that I have been working on. So unless we have any other questions or anything, I think we can probably call it a day. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming, and we'll get this video out there on the internet for everybody else. And then if we can get the agendas created today so I can review them and get them approved, that would be great. And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.